What's going on, everybody? Here, Time here, and today I wanted to give a few tips on how to play Genji a bit better. Now, I'm not the greatest Genji player, but even though I'm not the greatest Genji player, I feel like these tips will still help you, regardless if I'm that good or not. So, hopefully these tips will help you become a better player. So, yeah, let's go into it. So, starting off, I want to talk about Genji's primary fire and secondary fire, especially because that's your main kit. That's your main source of damage, really. And then, of course, your ability. So, first of all, you got primary fire, which is the spread out kunai fire, more for long ranged. And then the secondary fire is this. It's evenly spread out. It's more for getting up close and personal with people and getting headshots on them, mainly. Oh, and also melee. Melee is going to be very important when I get to the later sections. Melee is very important to get a lot of damage off with the different combinations of attacks you can do, but yeah, that's primary and secondary fire. So, and then his first ability is this slash, which will recharge once you get kills. So if you see here, if you get a kill with a slash, it's a lot what a lot of people do. You actually recharge it. So that's what a lot of people do. I'm not doing it properly here, but that's the first ability. And then your second ability deflects bullets, and a lot more in bullets, honestly. It can deflect certain ultimates. Like if you get it right, you can actually deflect Hanzo's whole ultimate. You can deflect it, just like in the short story, whatever they're called, the story shorts, whatever they're called. So yeah, you can actually deflect Hanzo's ult with it, and you can deflect a lot of other stuff, but mainly anything that is a bullet-like thing or an arrow like Hanzo, you can deflect with this. So it's good for deflecting damage and not getting killed easily. So he has a lot of survivability with his two abilities, being able to deflect and get away. So that's it for the abilities. And of course his ultimate is the blade. So I'll go more into strategies with this later, but that's just so you know what the ultimate does. I'm sure everybody knows what the ultimate does, but it's just the blade that he brings out, does a ton of damage. I want to talk a little bit about how you can use strategy with this stuff. So mainly, the main thing I do when I'm Genji anyways is when I go into a group of enemies and I am singling somebody out that I want to kill. So for example, let's say an Ana. I will deflect first, then I'll slash, then I'll attack, and sometimes I'll melee too. And you can finish off a lot of characters off like that. So deflect, slash, attack, melee. So you can see that's a very good combo to do. Of course, you can switch this up a lot. You can slice, deflect, attack, and then melee. Whatever you like to do, but just try to get some combos up and try to get some combos trying to use those abilities and your melee and your secondary fire, primary fire, all of those according to what you want to do. So just try to get your favorite way of attacking that you're comfortable with. But just be aware of the combos that you can do. Here I was talking about combos, but I actually forgot. I wanted to mention about how when you're doing your primary fire, this is mainly for far away for more precision. When you're trying to avoid attacks at the same time, jumping. And that's another thing I want to say. You always want to be jumping with Genji. You don't want to be stationary ever. Unless you've got an Ana on your team trying to heal you. Please stay still for the Ana to heal you, because I've had experiences with Genjis that will not stay still while I'm trying to heal them, and they end up dying, and they end up blaming me. So please don't blame your Ana for your fault. Please stay very still when your Ana is trying to heal you. Get back and let your Ana heal you. Anyways, yeah, always stay jumping, stay immobile, so that your enemies cannot attack you and kill you very easily. So always stay jumping. And like I said, this is more for precision. Your secondary fire is when you're getting up close, and that spread is basically kind of like a shotgun. You know, the closer you get, the more accurate and the more damage you're gonna do. So it's kind of like a shotgun spray. Just think of it like that. Honestly, think of it like Roadhog's shotgun spray. Think of it as Roadhog's primary fire, in a way. Okay, so now I want to go over a few strategies with your blade. So, I would recommend highly just practice a lot with Genji on these bots, because this is actually how I got better. Not even like aim training, like the aim training that I showed in my aim training video. Not even those. I mean, you can, of course, but these bots are honestly pretty good, even though they're stationary. Trying to get your spray and to hit enemies, and trying to practice with your blade. And a strategy you want to do with your blade is you want to do. So when you start doing your blade, you want to slash into enemy team to get in their back lines. As you'll see, let me get my slash back actually. As you'll see, when you slash and then use your ultimate, you'll get it back. And you want to do this momentum of attacking with your blade and slash. Every time you kill an enemy, slash into the next opponent. So, like that, only with your blade, obviously. And you want to keep that momentum going. Oh, and also, I will show in a second. Let me get my ultimate back real quick. Okay, there we go. So, a lot of times when you're sheathing your blade, it can actually mess you up and lose a lot of extra damage you can get with your kunai instead. Sorry, shuriken, not kunai. I've been calling them kunai. Kuriko uses kunai. Genji uses shuriken. Sorry. Trying to get the terms right. You want to be able to do as much damage as you want, and it actually can take quite a bit of time getting your blade back in your sheath. And what you can actually do is you can cancel it, kind of like a reload animation cancel in Call of Duty or whatever. So you can actually cancel the animation by climbing up, kind of like that, climbing up a wall. And that's a very helpful way after you're done with your blade. After you see you got like 1 second left and you hear that whoosh sound when your blade is about to end, try climbing up a wall so you can get more damage in with your shuriken. So that's the base premise of how to use your ultimate. Just remember, slash into the back lines, use your blade, slash with your blade, and then use your dash. Slash dash, slash dash. Remember that. As often as you can. Just remember that. Well, I messed that up, but you get the idea. Kind of like that. So, that's the premise of how to use your ultimate better. Okay, so real quick, I want to go over a few strengths of Genji. So first of all, the people that you counter, or that you're strong against at least. You're strong against characters that shoot a lot of bullets. So anybody shoots a lot of bullets and really does a lot of damage, you are kind of a counter to. So D.Va, you can spray her bullets back at her and her rockets and stuff. And Ramatra, you can actually, if you don't know this, you can you can block punches, you can block melee attacks. So you can block melee attacking enemies like Reinhardt, like Ramatra, like Brigitte, people like that. You can actually block melees with your deflect. I don't know if anybody knew that, but you can. So you're not strong against Ramatra. I wouldn't 1v1 a Ramatra, obviously. I mean, that's just dumb to 1v1 a tank as any damage. But I would say that if you are close and personal with Ramatra, don't panic. Use your deflect if you have it, and try to slash and dash and get out of there. So you can block punches and melee attacks and stuff. So block Brigitte and block Ramatra. Obviously, if Ramatra's is an ult, he will obviously still deal damage from his ults, but he won't deal damage as the punching from his ult or anything. So yeah, D.Va, you can definitely be strong against. That actually, you can actually kill Roadhog really easily. If you're up close with a Roadhog and you catch it enough time to where he doesn't kill you instantly with his ult, if you block his ult, you can actually, if you're near a cliff, you can actually knock him off the map. Because he'll keep on deflecting and he'll get knocked off the map. But if he's not against the cliff, you can still kill him pretty easily by deflecting all his bullets. You can deflect Sigma stuff, but he doesn't really shoot a lot. I wouldn't call it shooting. Oh, you can also deflect Reinhardt's fire strikes back at him, so that's very useful, as they can do a lot of damage, especially for squishy targets like Genji. And then Genji is very strong against, like I said, people that do a lot of damage. So Junkrat, you can very easily kill him by throwing his bombs back at him with your deflect. Bastion, you can deflect everything, his bombs, his primary fire, his fire in his turret mode. Oh, and you counter Widow pretty hard, and Ashe, but mostly Widow. You can actually, if a Widow is dumb enough, most of them these days aren't dumb enough, but you can deflect a headshot back at Widow if you aim your deflect at her head and kill her instead. Or, honestly, you don't even really have to do that. You can deflect until you get close, slash into her, and she will be very paranoid. So, go and attack the Widow while she is on edge, being up there on her little safe cove, or she thought it was safe until you switched to Genji and countered her. So, you're definitely a counter to Widow and Junkrat and Bastion. Honestly, Reaper too. You're kind of a counter to Reaper, but Reaper can still kill you, so be careful. Sojourn shoots a lot of bullets. You can definitely counter Sojourn. And Soldier 76, I wouldn't say you counter, but you can be pretty strong against him. You can throw his grenade back at him too, so, or his rocket back at him and deal a lot of damage too. Tracer you can block, but Tracer is just annoying, so you're not really a counter to. And then, of course, Sombra won't matter because she can hack your deflect and still kill you. And then, of course, Genji is pretty much just a counter to every single support that is in the back lines with his blade, so there's not really any mentioning supports. Okay, so now I want to talk about Genji's weaknesses. Now, he has a few weaknesses, thank God, because he would be overpowered. But, yeah, he has a few weaknesses. So, there's a few characters that can actually shoot through his deflect. So, those characters are Zarya, Symmetra, and Mei. Mei's primary fire can actually shoot through it. And, I mean, she's just strong against a lot of characters like that. Oh, and Moira. I almost forgot Moira. Moira is a hard counter to you, which is funny to say because she's a support, but she can, well, she can use her secondary fire to attack you with her sucking, I don't know what to call it, her sucking ability, where she sucks you. She can damage you like that. And of course her orbs can still hurt you, but you can deflect them back and hurt her instead. So, you can deflect the orbs back. But Moira is a pretty hard counter to use, so don't try to fight Moira. Oh, I almost forgot Winston. I do believe Winston's electricity can shoot through your deflect, so keep that in mind as well. Oh, and Echo's laser can also counter Genji. Well, it can shoot through Genji's deflect, but, I mean, her laser is only really effective when you're low health anyways, and you can deflect her bubbles, her secondary fire, and her primary fire, so she's not exactly a hard counter to you, but she can shoot through that deflect. And of course, I already mentioned Sombra, so I mean, Sombra is can pretty much counter anybody, really, with her hacking stuff. So she can hack you and get you out of your deflect. Okay, so I think that's about all the tips I wanted to give about Genji. The one thing that I just did now think of is, if you want to know how to play Genji even better, if you see a counter, just because you see your counters, you want to play against your counters. That will only make you better playing against your counters. So, no matter what anybody tells you, make sure you play against your counters. So if you see a Moira on the enemy team, I wouldn't immediately swap off. Unless it's competitive, you know. But I would practice a lot in quick play before going to competitive with Genji. I mean, with anybody, but Genji especially, because he's a hard character to play, honestly. I think he's pretty hard to play, in my opinion. Maybe that's just me, but I feel like he's one of the hardest characters to master, at least, and get better at. So definitely play against your counters. If you have a Moira in quick play, you know, don't immediately swap off. I would play against her, see what you can do. Play against Mei, play against Symmetra. Well, I wouldn't really play against Symmetra. You can't really do anything to Symmetra. But yeah, play against some of your counters, like Moira especially. I would play against against Mei, people like that. So that's another tip I would give that can help you. If you play against your counters, you can only get better by playing against them and know how to counter your counters. Anyway, that's about it. I hope these tips helped you. Let me know down in the comments if these tips did help you, and Also, let me know down in the comments if there's anything that I forgot to mention or that I just didn't know or didn't mention at all. Let everybody know down in the comments below so that your fellow people in the comments can also learn a thing or two. And if this video did help you, make sure you subscribe, and I will see everybody in the next video. Bye.